Good morning, what is up guys? So Raven here with another comic review and well, a rundown of a comic. And today of course we're gonna continue with King in Black, but it kind of a tie-in. It doesn't have a I am a tie-in book on the cover, but it is a tie-in. The story has started in the King in Black issue number 2 at the very end, and I'm of course talking about Venom. Venom number 32. This is the variant cover, so of course the regular cover is a bit different, but man, that cover is absolutely gorgeous because technically, if you think about it, especially right after I've read the King Black number 2 and now I've read that actually represents what kind of Eddie Brock might have seen as he was telling Peter Parker, Spider-Man, to protect Dylan. And when he was saying his goodbye, you see that, right? You of course see the Spider-Man as you're lying. So that's pretty cool idea. Of course, the book is still written by Donny Cates, so he's still on the Venom. We've got Ivan Coelho as an artist, Jesus Aburtov, I hope I pronounced it correctly, as a colorist, and VC's Clayton Cowles as a letterer. This is, as you probably figured out from the King in Black number 2, a story of Eddie Brock, of where he goes. And there are two surprises here, which I'm kind of happy about. And this is not a bad issue. Again, it's a bit of a slow-paced issue, but it's a build-up to this big thing. And it has a lot of emotions inside. Again, Venom, Donny Cates, you're doing it good. Thor, maybe leave it to Jason Aaron. Just saying. Okay, so have I enjoyed this book? I actually did, even though there's a lot of talk. So we open with what we saw in the King in Black number 2 in the beginning and also at the very end, because the beginning of course you got Eddie hitting the ground, and the end of the King in Black number 2 is actually the first 2 pages of this Venom here. So we got that, and Venom hits that car so hard it goes through to the void. And what is cool about the art over here is like you can clearly see his bones being broken, like you kind of saw it in the Justice League books where they were fighting with Lex Luthor, and Batman's bones were broken, right? So he got like his leg upside down and everything. You got that here in this art. It's a really cool art. So Brock goes to this like unknown thing. At least we think it's an unknown, but he was in this darkness already, and he tells you that when Null controlled his Venom, he was here. When Carnage did the same to him and either him with the bones, he was here in this place. But this time, this place feels different, and this place is the Hive. So this is where people go when they are either nullified or, like, actually, when they are nullified. But if their bodies are or were actually connected to the Venom at a certain point in time, that's where they go when they die. And I must say, death in the tie-in books that are from, especially like the Valkyries as well, because I've read that. The death is a huge theme of those books, so be prepared for a lot of that. So he tries to go like, oh man, well this is it, right? Like there's nothing there, and Voice calls him Brock. He goes like, oh okay, sure. What I gotta do? It's like, hey Brock, it's gonna hurt. Like whatever you're gonna do right now. Sorry, I shaved, and like when you shave and you go like everything is like messed up. All right, because neck beard, not cool. Brock knows what I'm talking about, right? Does he have a neck beard? No, he does not actually, right? Yeah, Brock shaves as well, his neck, so yeah, if Brock does it, you should as well. So there is a voice that calls out, wake up soldier, I know this is gonna hurt, what's gonna happen, but you gotta wake up. So first of all, you need to get free out of the vines and the venoms and the like symbiotes that are around you. It's gonna hurt like crazy. So he does that, right? He frees himself. He's like, all right, but you're still falling, mate. So because of course that is the allegory to you're still falling because of this fall that Noel kind of puts you through. He's like, you have to land it. Alright, it's gonna hurt like crazy, but once you land it, you're good. So Brock was like, alright, screw it, I'm landing. And Brock lands. And he sees you have the first shot of first unknown person, right? You're like, alright, kid, stand the hell up. So we learned that this is actually Rex. This is our Rex, and this is the Rex that, if you read like War of the Realms, this is the hideout. That was his hideout where Dylan was being kept during the Venom tie-in, and he's one of the older friends of Eddie Brock, and he's the black guy as well with a gun. So cool, right? We see the whole world going to dog, and in the distance, Eddie sees a family running away from the dragons, and Rex goes like, "Hey, mate, like stop! This is not real." Why? How this is not real, right? Like Brock can't comprehend that that he is dead. That this everything he sees is literally not real. This is hype. These are projections. He tries to save the people. It hurts him. Then he tries to kill one of the dragons, right? The nullified dragons. It hurts him, right? The dragon goes right through him, and so we got this great panel right there because of that. Really good. Again, art really good. So as he does that, Rex goes like, listen, shake it off and see the thing for what it really is. And we see just rows and rows and rows of people connected by some things. Like actually those are like symbiote things connected to their heads on both sides. Like I can't do it with two hands. And we see a lot of them. And it's like, why are they connected and I am not? It's like, hey, because you were connected to the Venom and you had a certain connection with a symbiote, so you can actually walk around. So it goes like, alright, but what the hell? And he sees Captain America, The Thing, Sue Storm, like all the characters that were during this first battle nullified. They are connected to the null right there, and this shocks him. He's like, no, wait, this is wrong. So, by the way, Rex, how can you do that? Hey, and Rex tries to explain, like, okay, listen, I've been connected to my own symbiote for a couple of, for some time, so I'm able to move like little things here, but you're stuck, mate. Like, there's nothing you can do. He's like, no. No. How? No. It's like, mate, you're not doing great. Let me show you. And all of that is happening simultaneously to the King in Black number 2. And, well, Rex just shows him that, mate, Eddie, you died. You just died right now. And this is the moment, right, the finishing panel of the King in Black number 2, where Eddie flatlined, and we see Eddie's ghost sitting here. He's like, numb. It's like, no, Dylan, I'm sorry, Dylan. And he tries to touch Dylan, but of course he can't because he's in this void. He goes like, fuck it, I am not gonna accept that. Like, Rex, mate, you said you can move shit around, right? Like, why can you do that? He goes like, yeah, because I was connected to the symbiote for some time. He's like, alright, screw you, dude. You were here only like to the symbiote for a couple of days, like some time, maybe. At best, I'm a freaking Brock. Eddie freaking Brock, baby. I've been connected to the Venom my almost whole life at this point. If you can't do it, I'm gonna move shit around. Do you understand? Because like, well, you're kind of right, but there's a itsy-bitsy problem, Brock. It was like, what is it? We're gonna have to find your other, so we have to find the Venom. And he was like, alright, so what's the problem? He's like, that's the problem. And he shows him that his Venom, Eddie Brock's Venom, is actually on the throne with the Null at the top of the mountain. He's like, oh, we're gonna be here forever, mate. I mean, you're gonna help me? I was like, yeah, I will help you, no worries, but that's suicide. I mean, like, you're kind of dead already, but this is impossible to do. But alright, cool. But we're gonna need reinforcements. But no worries, I know the guy, and this is that guy. And from the back, we see a shadowy figure coming out. And that is the last panel of the book. And that is of course, the Agent Venom, who is... Come on, if you haven't read it, I'm going to tell you exactly. This is, of course, Thompson. The Flash Venom Thompson. And if you don't know who the Flash Thompson is, he is the guy that was bullying Peter Parker in high school. Like, that's what he's remembered for the most. But also he then later became Agent Venom. And if you read like Zdarsky's book, then he died in the war. But Zdarsky's like, that's a different book. Great book, you should read it. Super good. But yeah, that's a different story. But in general, like many people, like including myself, because I haven't read like Agent Venom and like I've skipped all of that. I remember Flash Thompson as this jock bully of Peter Parker. Of course, then later on, yes, he was the Agent Venom. He was on the good side, and he got he got killed. So that is the end, and we got the tease of Thor for the next King in Black, which is quite interesting because at this point in time in Thor books, we still haven't seen Thor in our realm. He's still locked in the realm where it was not Eddie. Edward Blake, right? It was Eddie. Edward Blake, the doctor that was Thor in the past, but then it was like Edward Blake trapped Thor in the prison where Eddie was actually being held. So he's right now on the rampage and killing other Thors. That people that wear Thors, like right now he's going to kill Frog. You can watch that review on the channel. So I don't know how it's gonna tie into this book. I probably it's gonna, like, it has to be in some way. It's also written by Donny Cates. So I'm assuming there is going to be at least a moment in the Thor book to do that, and hopefully it's going to be great. But all in all, Venom number 32, a slower book but filled with emotions and just shows the struggle of Eddie Brock and the Venom. And I think, again, he's going to probably, be alive at the end, but as you're reading it issue by issue, you will see the struggle, and while reading that, the impact of his comeback is gonna be bigger than only reading the main story, because you don't have this like background context of like his struggles. Like, if you wouldn't read that, it was like, yeah, he died. Oh, he's resurrected, great. But here we got this iron struggle that he has to go through, and all of that emotional weight, which I do like. A solid book. It's a solid 8 out of... I'm doing a lot of 8s, I know, but I feel like it deserves an 8. Why not 9? Why not 10? It's not the book you're gonna come back to be quite honest. Maybe after you collected all kind of tie-ins to the King in Black, then yes, maybe. But to be fair, I'm like, this is the book to introduce Rex and Agent Venom back. Like, that's what, and just put that emotional background for the comeback for King in Black, and that struggle. So not the topic I always like to read. Dart is good, but there's some moments where you go like, come on, you could have missed that. And well, it's kind of like, some things are typical Donny Cates style, which I don't always like the inner monologues. There are a few that were like, you could have just said it out loud, or you could have like left it out. There was like no need. And also what I don't really like is the fact that if you, especially here, right in this moment where you, and I think Marvel does that a lot, and I really dislike it for Marvel, when they're talking about something that happened in the past, they rarely give you asterisks and like, hey, go and read this if you want to know more. And I'm a fan of actually comic book writers doing that. Just give us this like small panel, maybe not at the bottom of the page or like whatever. It's like, hey, if you want to know more about, let's say, when Carnage did the same to me on the Island of Bones, I would appreciate being like, okay, and like I don't want to Google. I'm like, I want to know which issue that was, because maybe I'm a collector. Maybe I want to have that issue. Maybe I have that issue. I just want to go back, right? When Null Control, like all of those little things, those details were just not there, but they kind of were present in the first King in Black book. So come on, guys, we can do that. It's just a lot easier for the reader to trace certain things back if you know, like, and if you don't have to go, because like I can tell like what I'm doing, like when I'm reading a book, like I have my PC shut down, like I don't have a phone next to me, I just want to enjoy the book what it is. And when I'm like, okay, the bones, I'm like, oh well, what was that issue? And if I have to Google it and like, it takes away a bit. I'd rather just go like, okay, that's that issue. I'd wake up, look through the books. I'm like, all right, there it is. If I have it, of course, pick it up, reread it, refresh my memories, and go back to the book. Not really going back to my phone and like checking it there, because then there's always someone who texts me. There's always something, and they're like, oh man, then I'm losing the focus. Especially with the books that are really impactful and heavy on the emotions. So solid 8 out of 10, a great tie-in book. So far, I think the worst tie-in books I'm gonna go and review in a second. Where actually, and again, it's not a bad thing. It's like Iron Man and Valkyries, but this doesn't mean they were not good. They were good. They were not as good as these, but they were moving things forward. So yeah, I'm enjoying them. So thank you guys so much for watching. So 8 out of 10. Goodbye. Good night. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Go read it. It's a great time book and a great cover, especially if you realize that you're looking at the Spider-Man through the eyes of Eddie Brock. Take care. Bye.